Hey, this is a tutorial video for Sword and Sorcery, a new game that just came out. I know that a couple of people have been asking for a tutorial because this rule book is thick and this game has a ton of rules. This is not necessarily a simple game, but I do think once you get the rules down, it does run pretty quickly and smoothly. It's a fun game, but I do admit there are a lot of different rules that you have to keep track of. And so this tutorial will hopefully give you an overview of how to work and play through the intro scenario. Warning, there are spoilers, some minor spoilers, although I do prevent the outcome or the story from being revealed. And so there's enough here that should actually get you up and running and definitely be referring to your rule book for any questions that you might have. I'm sure that I messed up some of the rules, and so if you want to, just put comments down in the section and I will try to add any corrections or any additional rules that should be in the video as a card, one of the comment cards. So please enjoy and have fun playing your copy of Sword and Sorcery. So the first thing we're going to do is pick our heroes, and so among the many different choices that we have, I am going to pick Samaria, mostly because she can turn into a bear, and Icarus, because he looks like a general tank. So these might be good characters to start off with. And then you want to grab the hero play sheet, and these are double-sided, because you want to pick which version that you want to play based on their soul nature. So you can pick either sort of a lawful character here that is signified by these wings, or you can pick the chaotic version of it. And so due to the, and based on which one you choose will determine which powers are available to you. Not only the innate power, as you see here, the law character ignores all hindrances while not in bear form, and the chaotic version has to do with totems, giving you extra defense. But mostly I'm going to choose based on the power cards that are available to me, and because I'm most interested in being able to turn into a bear at level 3, I'm going to choose the law nature. The chaotic version has an ability that enables her to bring in Bjorn the bear as a companion, but she can't turn into a bear herself, and I really think that ability is cool. I have no idea actually how good the bear is, but since I want that ability, I'm going to choose the law nature. Now, because I'm choosing the law nature for Samaria, so we're going to put this on our card here, make sure that we're on the right side. We also are going to get the gemstone, corresponding gemstone. Make sure that it's on the right side as well. So since she is, oops, wrong one. Since she is law, her nature is law, make sure that you have it on the law side, because these abilities are different based on which nature you have. So we want to keep it, and then it's at level 1. She has 5 hit points, 1 combat activation, 1 action activation, and she'll start off with 1 power card. And then because Samaria is law nature, I also have to have any companions in the party be of the same nature or neutral. And to show you neutrality, here we see Lagon. He has both the wing and the chaos symbol, the claw. So he's actually a neutral character, so he can go with either type of party. But because Icarus can either only be law or chaos, we have to pick this so that the party is consistent. So, and then I have my corresponding gemstone with him as well. So because Samaria and most heroes start off with just 1 power card, look at all of your power cards, and I'm going to take out all of the chaos power cards since they're not available to me. So I'm going to set those aside. And here are all the law nature power cards that are available. And then these are the neutral ones. So if you notice this symbol, these can be used by either law or chaos characters. And so I'm going to pick one of these, and this is the one I'm going to pick so that my party has a heal ability. So I'll just set this to the right of my character card. And then for Icarus, I'm going to do the same thing. He also gets one starting ability, and so I'm going to choose this melee attack, which does +1 damage and takes away 1 armor. And so I'll explain how power cards work as we go through this tutorial. Now, in order to set up the quests, you go to the appropriate page and you start off with these items. Now, this first one in the prologue leaves you with nothing because normally you'll have some money, some treasure, some soul points that each character will get, and you'll have an opportunity to go to the Emporium, which is the shop, to purchase your starting supplies. But here, the prologue is special where you don't make any purchases. You'll get those equipment supplies later. And so you want to set up by grabbing the enemy deck. So make sure, I made a mistake first time I played through, that you grab the right cards because it's asking to grab 2 green and 2 blue gremlins. And these are those cards here. And you just mix these up and you turn them face down because this is the enemy deck that you're going to be drawing from. Also grab the corresponding scroll AI cards, and for this it is the these 2 gremlins. Do not grab the what are these called? The hordes. So I accidentally grabbed these cards instead of these single ones. And so it really screwed up the game because of that. So make sure you're grabbing these cards instead. So set these aside once you have them, and you'll be using those as the AI for the monsters. Next, you want to set up your event deck. And so this number 5 is this card, which will be in play for a while. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and put the day card underneath because, spoiler alert, it's going to come out later. So set that aside, and that will constantly be in play. And then, as it says here, grab the 14, 6, 9, 18, 8, and 11. And here I have it sorted in that order. So what you're doing with these cards is you're mixing them up. Just turn them down and mix them up. And then do the same for this stack here, the 8 and the 11, and mix them up. And basically what it's telling you to do is stack these on top. So we're going to put this mixed with 6 and 9 on top, and then so on and so forth. So I'll grab this one, put it on top, flip this one over, put this stack here, and then this is our event deck. So just set that aside to the side of the board. That will be the event deck. Now you will notice that go ahead and put all of these cards as the map is saying. And it's pretty much straightforward, so place these tokens according to the map. This is going to go over here along with, I think, story event 2. Story event 1 goes over here, and so on and so forth. It's pretty straightforward. The only confusing thing might be the shadow tokens. So for a 2-player game, or 2-hero game, it says that we should pull out 1 citizen, 4 enemies, and 1 double enemy. And so that's what I did, and I mixed them up and then placed them according to the map. So one of them is going to go here, one of them is going to go here, and again, this is just for 2 heroes. And then 2 of them here, and 1 of them over here. So that actually leaves 1 token that isn't used, and so that way it's randomized, and you're not sure what's going to show up where. And then I'll go ahead and just set up everything else. The other thing that's important is put the story event card here and here. So story event 1 is placed right here, and then story event 2 is placed up here. And then have all your tokens set aside. There's a bajillion tokens, so I just have them in these sorters. And that is pretty much it. Oh, one final thing too is it says put waypoint 3 and 4 on location A and B. So location A is here, location B is here. C and D will become pertinent later on as you unlock the scenario. So just randomize these two waypoints and just place one here and then the other one here. Also, I have these critical hit in a bag because you're going to be drawing these randomly, so stick them in your bag. And I have all the coins sorted out. I have hit point markers here. I have enemy power cards that you'll need to draw from, as well as encounter cards. These will be drawn every turn. I have treasure deck here, traps, and then events that aren't being used for this scenario just sitting there. And this is a nifty card holder that I hold a bunch of other cards that is needed. So pretty much that is the setup. Make sure you have the monster minis available as well, and we're ready to start the scenario. So we grab our book of secrets and we go to the prologue and we look at waypoint 1. So we start off here and it says some of the weapons lie near the altar. Once per quest, each hero moving over this waypoint can spend one action to draw and equip up to 3 item cards from his choice from the stash deck. So clearly, because we don't have any items, we can't actually attack, so every hero will want to do that action. And so I will, and it doesn't matter, you get to pick, heroes get to pick who goes first, so I will go ahead and have Samaria go first. So for her first action, since she's over that waypoint, she's going to collect 3 items, any 3 items from the stash deck. And it says stash down here at the bottom. So this is to distinguish it from this deck, which is which has the cost down at the bottom corner. These are Emporium cards where you can purchase these later on. But as you start off, these stash cards are available to everybody, and you don't need to purchase these. So at the beginning of every scenario, you can pick any of these cards. Now, these are relatively weak, so once you can purchase things, you'll definitely want to buy items rather than using this. So the other restriction, too, is you have to look at these corners, and as you notice here, Icarus has an S, which means strength. He can only use items that has an S on it, or this symbol here, which means any character can use that. Whereas Samaria, she has this F, which means faith. She can only use items with the F on one of the corners. And some of these has restrictions. So for example, anyone can use the studded leather except for mages. And then this is, I don't remember what the D stands for, but I think dexterity, like thieves and Shay, I think, can use those items. So I'm going to go ahead and look through this deck and see what works out and equip. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same for Icarus because, well, normally we just have to wait until his turn begins, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. So for Samaria, I chose to give her a battle hammer, which gives her 2 red and 2 blue to roll. And these symbols here show what additional effects she can have on her attacks if she is successful in rolling those lightning bolts. I also gave her a shield, although she can't hold both the shield and this two-handed weapon. This straight sword means it's a two-handed weapon, so the only way that she can equip this is if she stores this away in her backpack. So for now, this is her default, is she'll have her weapon out, not her shield. And then she has her chainmail, which is 1 armor and rolls 3 blue die. So this is pretty strong beginning armor. And she can reroll any defense die if she rolls a lightning bolt. And then over here, Icarus has a leather vest. It's a little bit weaker in terms of armor, but he's able to reroll only 1 defense die and has to roll a lightning bolt. And then the spear is also a two-handed weapon. That's why this slot has to remain empty for his offhand. And all of those various abilities. It's nice because it's a range 1. And if he uses it actually one area away, he gets a bonus damage to his attack. The short bow is actually relatively weak, but I wanted to have some kind of range option that can shoot up to 3 spaces. It only rolls 1 blue die, which is pretty pathetic for an attack roll. But he's guaranteed 1 success already whenever he uses this, and then a lightning bolt will give him another success. So that's the loadout for both of the characters. We definitely want to upgrade their items as we pick up treasure. So basically in a turn, you have the time phase, which we don't need to do for this first round. And then you have each hero taking its turn, and a hero on its turn can move, do 1 movement activity, and then since these are level 1 heroes, they can make 1 combat activity and 1 action activity. And then the enemies will get their turn, and then you go into the event phase where a couple of things happen during the event phase. So the place where you find how much movement each hero has is down in this corner of the hero card. So Icarus here has 3 movement, and Samaria has 4. And so if Icarus were to go first, notice that each one of these areas has a little sword X in it, and that's each an area. So Icarus can move 3 and shoot. It would take 1 movement to go here, and then he can use a free action, which doesn't cost any points, to open the door. And he can do that in the middle of movement. You cannot fight in the middle of movement. You have to complete your movement and fight, or do your combat and then move. Other than that, though, you can do free actions and other actions in the middle of movement. So he can open the door here. Whenever you open a regular door, you do draw a trap card. But before we go into that, let me continue to explain movement. So Icarus here has 3 more movement, so he can move here. But let me just share with you real quick some unique circumstances. So these dark spots are walls, and that blocks line of sight. And this is where line of sight is important as well. To determine whether or not you have line of sight to another area, it's not true line of sight. So it's not like if I had him here, I would measure line of sight based on these two being able to see each other directly. Instead, you look at the area, no matter where he is in this zone, you just look at this cross and draw a straight line to this cross, and as long as it's unobstructed, there's line of sight available for any creature in here with any creature here. The same is true here. If you look here, and let's say Samaria is here, if you draw a straight line here, you see that it intersects with this dark wall. Therefore, anyone here does not have line of sight to anyone in here. So even though if I place these miniatures here, they would clearly have line of sight, but because these do not have line of sight to each other, that determines that these two do not have line of sight. Also, heroes can have line of sight through each other, but other enemies block line of sight. So let's say here in this circumstance, Icarus would not have line of sight to this enemy because there's an enemy in an intervening area. So if he had a ranged weapon or was using his bow, he would not be able to target this guy. But this does not apply for enemies. This guy would have line of sight to him. So this is only heroes have block line of sight off of other enemies. So I just wanted to explain a couple more things about movement. This means it's rough terrain and therefore requires 2 movement points to move into this area. Moving out is just 1, but to enter into this space is 2 movement. And in this tile, we see this symbol, which basically means any hero in this particular area with this symbol cannot move directly into this area, but someone in here can move into this area. This sort of represents a balcony that's raised and higher, so it prevents any figure from moving directly from this place into this, and that's true for here as well. Now this is unobstructed, so heroes can go here. So if you wanted to move from this space and go up here, you can't go this way. It would cost you 1, 2 movement to get up there. So to pick up with Icarus's move, basically he comes here, spends his free action to open the door, free action also to pick up and drop items. A trap card is automatically drawn. So we draw this, and we see that it is lightning. Unless save, each hero within 2 areas suffer 1 hit point and become KO'd. So 2 areas, 1 area from the door straddling these 2 areas would affect this space and this space. But because it's 2, you go 2 out. So 1, 2, and 1, 2. So both of our heroes are actually going to get hit by this lightning. So this is a pretty nasty card. Now how do they do a save roll? When you look at the bottom of their hero card, you'll see that it says save, and Samaria has to roll on 1 blue die a pentagram. And so I'll go ahead and roll for her, and she did not make it because that's a gremlin. She would have had to have rolled something like this where a pentagram is on there. So she failed her save. The same thing is true with Icarus. He has to roll a pentagram as well. And he succeeds because we have a pentagram there. So he takes no damage. But Samaria will take damage, and the card says she will take 1 hit point of damage. So I'll go ahead and put this 1 hit point on her card. And she is KO'd, which means she is knocked down. When a character is knocked down or an enemy is knocked down, their armor, any armor that they have, which is here, is not in effect. And so it basically nullifies any armor to be knocked down. Also, you can't do combat actions, and heroes have to spend an action, their dash action or their first movement action at the beginning of their turn to stand up. So unfortunately that hit her, but Icarus is fine, and so he will do his second movement to come into here. Now we have to stop. Even though he has 1 more movement, he can choose to move there, but because now these 2 spaces are in line of sight and we have a shadow token, we now flip this open. And so he pauses his movement, and this token basically means a monster is drawn here. So how you draw monsters is basically we go to the monster deck, remember that we formed at the beginning of the scenario, and we flip it over, and it is a green gremlin, one of the green gremlins. So we'll go ahead and put him here and take control of this card, and I need to flip the AI card over. So we know that he is there. Now Icarus is going to remain here. Instead of using his 3rd movement to move into the space to do a melee attack, because he has the spear that allows him to attack from a distance of 1 away. If it was a 0, he needs to be in the same area. But because he has a range of 1 with the spear, he can stay there and will poke at him with the spear. So he stops his movement, and now will roll his dice dictated by his weapon card. So this weapon does an automatic 1 point of damage, and that's the symbol for damage, a hit. And then he will roll 1 red dice, which is is better for attack, and 2 blue dice. The blue dice is better for defense, but it does have some successes, some hits on them. So he's going to roll these 3 dice for attack, and basically he gets a shield, which doesn't count for anything in an attack. He gets 1 success and a lightning bolt, and another success and a pentagram. The pentagram isn't going to do anything, but so far he has these 2 successes. Let's see what we can do with the lightning bolt. 1 lightning bolt can take away an enemy's armor, but he does not have any armor, so that's not really going to do anything. So in essence, he does 2 points of damage here, and then a 3rd one here. So far 3 points of damage. But this knight card that's in effect, it pretty much says that we have to read in the storybook the knight events. So let's go ahead and go here in the storybook and see what the night event does. Night event, right here. During the night, each attack performed by the heroes causes -1. So it automatically takes away 1 successful hit. So instead of having 3 successes, there's going to be 2 successful hits against the gremlin. We look here to see if he has any defense, and it would be a blue shield. He has no blue shield here, so he just takes a straight 2 points of damage. And so you can either put it here or onto the card. Either way, it doesn't really matter. So he takes 2 points of damage. Now, that's all Icarus can do. He's moved, and then he has done his attack action, and he's not going to do anything for his activation, his action activation. So he is finished. Now what he does at this point is, it is the monster's turn. So after each hero goes, it is the monster's turn. Oh yeah, and when you're done with your turn, just flip this over to signify it so that people can keep track of who's gone and who hasn't gone. So he draws an encounter card, and this determines what monsters will initiate. So it says activate all wounded enemies, which we don't have. Oh, we do have a wounded enemy here. So otherwise, it activates all enemies using the plus regardless of range. So on the AI card, there's a plus. You move down each one of these and see, you stop where it's relevant, but if none of those are relevant, then you do this. And so this card is basically saying, do that action regardless of what the range is. And that says move up to 2 areas towards the closest hero. So because we can do the first line, we ignore the second line and we activate all wounded enemies, which is this guy. To activate him, basically we just go down this AI list, and the first thing is at 0 range, if they're in the same area as an enemy, they will attack with claws. So we can go ahead and do that. Let's say, oh no, he's actually not within the same area. He has to actually move towards them. So because that's not true, we ignore it and we go to the next line, and it says move to engage if you're within 1 or 2 areas, and then you attack with claws. But let's say he was further away than that, then he would move down to this line and attack with a stone. And then finally, if he's 5 away, then he would do this and just move forward. But let's go ahead and do this line and move to engage and attack with claws. So he's going to just move in and attack. And at the bottom of the card, it says to attack with claws, just roll 2 red dice. So we roll 2 red dice, and we see there are 2 successes and 2 lightning bolts. Now, fortunately, this guy has no effect with lightning, so the lightnings don't mean anything, but he will do 2 points of damage onto Icarus. This is what happens with damage. Instead of taking 2 hit points of damage right away, because Icarus does have a leather vest, because he does have armor, he can roll up to 3 blue dice as defense dice. But you only roll, you don't roll 3 dice every single time you get hit. You only roll the number of dice equal to the number of hits that you've received. So because he's received 2 hits from the gremlin, he's only going to roll 2 dice. And he needs shields to block, but he got no shields, if you look at that. Fortunately though, it says here, if you get a lightning, re-roll 1 defense die. So he got 1 lightning, so I can re-roll this one. And he still didn't block anything because he really needed that shield, so he rolled the same thing. You can only re-roll, even though he rolled another lightning, you can only ever re-roll a single die once. So you can never re-roll, even though I got that lightning again, I can't re-roll it again. So he missed the opportunity, and he's just going to take 2 points of damage. So Icarus has 6 total, he's down to 4. So he got walloped by this green gremlin. So now Icarus is done with his turn, the enemy has gone, and now what Samira is going to do is spend her first movement point to stand up. She's going to use her, oh, I'm sorry to say, they both use their action to equip themselves, if you recall. I had them equip, right away. So she stands up to equip, and then she's going to move 1, 2. She's going to come in and engage and attack this guy. So she's going to use her combat action to attack. Her weapon, which is the battle hammer, uses 2 red and 2 blue. She doesn't have an automatic hit with this weapon. So what we see here, oh, this is really good. Although the blue dice doesn't give her anything because they're 2 shields, so that's no effect. And she has 3 hits showing on the dice. So far there's 3 hits. But remember, with this knight, it takes 1 away, so it's 2 hits. But because there are more than twice the number of enemies for this gremlin, this area is known as being both controlled and, more importantly, dominated. Control just means you have more of your side than the enemy. Dominated means you have twice the number, at least twice the number of the enemy. So when you dominate an area, you get a +1 automatic hit bonus. So even though the knight reduced this down to 2, the domination will actually bring it back to 3. So this gremlin will take 3 hits, but he only had 1 hit point left, so he is going to die. When a monster dies, you just look down here at the bottom and you see that he drops 5 gold. And so we'll just put that 5 gold there. Because Samaria hasn't taken a free action, or you can take as many free actions as you want, but it's still her turn. She's going to go ahead and use her free action to pick this up, and the gold will go onto her hero card. Gold is specific to each hero. When they pick it up, they take it, but the soul points, these things that give you experience to level up, this goes into a common pool that all the heroes will share. Now, normally, she would draw an encounter card, but because there are no enemies on the board, she doesn't draw an encounter card. Actually, because Samaria does have a spell action, 1 spell action, she is going to use, or I'm sorry, oh, she already did use this, so in order to pick up all of her stuff this turn, I was going to use this to heal, since she has 1 hit point of damage and Icarus has 2. But because she already used her action to equip herself, that this is not available, because it says to use this power card you have to spend an action. And neither could I have used this power card on that last attack that Icarus made during his turn in order to give him a +1 attack damage. So now we are going to, since both heroes finished their turn, we're going to go to the event phase. And so just very simply what you do is you go over to the event deck, and the rule is if the top event card is unrevealed, which it is, draw and resolve the card. So we're just draw this and flip it over. But let's say this card was already in play, otherwise we discard this, this top card and we just flip it over like this, right? So basically every other turn you're flipping over a new card. But for this turn it says place a treasure card in the active heroes area. So we'll just draw a treasure. This is good. Basically there's a treasure drop and that goes in the area, and the players can choose which one will pick up that treasure for a free action during their turn. So now we go back to the top, and it is now the time phase where we have effects cleanup, powers refresh, powers cool down, and soul enhancement or resurrection. This is where heroes can level up, or if they are in ghost form they can be resurrected. So I'll go ahead and clean up, and so I'll put this over here in the discard pile next to the draw pile. And since I didn't use power cards, they are not refreshed, and we begin anew. Oh, I forgot to flip this over last time, but go ahead and flip these over. And then we start a new turn. So you'll notice one of the advantages that I had, and the reason why Icarus didn't step out into this area to engage that last green gremlin, was because you'll notice that there is a shadow token here. If he had stepped out here to battle, last turn this would have flipped over and would have revealed a new monster. and that's why I chose to have Icarus stay here in order for them to be out of line of sight. But this next turn, it will definitely flip this over because one of them is going to move forward. And let's go ahead and have Icarus move again, but he's going to go ahead and use a free action to pick up the treasure. And this is an Archmage robe, which a faith person can have, which he is not. And let's see, it's 2 defense magical shields, rolls 2, once per round, reroll 1 hit or defense die. Wow, so this is actually pretty good. So, but since he picked it up, he's going to put it over here. He can't use it himself. He's going to have to spend an action to pass it off. Let me take a moment to explain to you all of the action possibilities you have during your turn. And so the first one is you can choose to dash. You can use your action to dash, and that allows you to move 1 extra space than you normally would. So it's sort of like a run action. Or you use your dash in order to stand up. The reason why you would do that is, let's say you want to stand up and then battle, and you save your move action for after you fight. So you might want to use your dash instead of a movement to stand back up after being KO'd. You can bash a chest or a locked door in order to open it. Any regular door you can open just with a free action, but locked doors and a chest you have to use an action to actually open. You can focus an attack. I always forget about this one, but you can focus an attack in order to enhance the damage of the strike. Enhancing it just gives you a +1 automatic hit to your attack. You can reorganize your equipped items, and so you can't freely just shift your, like I can't just put this shield over here for free or move my items around. I actually have to use a reorganize action in order to do that. I can exchange, and this is what Icarus is going to do. He's going to use his action to exchange an item to give this thing that he picked up, this mage armor, over to Samaria. And then he can search, and search requires a search token, and here on the board there's only 1 search token in this area. And then you can provoke a master enemy, which has to do with, there's no master enemy in this scenario, so I won't explain that. Or you can perform a quest action as detailed by the quest. So those are sort of your options for how to spend your different actions. So I need to remember that if I have a action that I haven't used, I should definitely focus and attack. So Icarus is going to use his action to go ahead and give this over to Samaria. Now Samaria cannot immediately receive it and replace her current chainmail. She has to, only if it's empty can she immediately equip it. Otherwise she has to spend an action to rearrange her stuff and equip this. But right now she does have it, and then he's going to go ahead and move. So he's going to use his first movement to come here. He needs to stop because this will flip over since it's line of sight, and it is another enemy. And so I go over here and draw the next card. And this time it is a blue gremlin, which is harder, and any slash attack will be -1. Fortunately, I don't have any slash weapons to that attack. It's more resistant to slash. And it has a power card. So this means, this symbol up here means draw a enemy power. And so this power, and make sure it's level 1. Arcane Spikes. If an attack deals damage to this enemy, the attacker suffers 1 hit point. Alright, so I'll go ahead and put that here. I will draw the blue AI card, set it next to it, and then set out the blue gremlin. So since he moved 1, he's going to finish his move 2, and he is going to, oh darn it, since he already used his action to pass off the equipment, he still can't use his power card. So he's just going to make a regular attack, and it's the same roll as before, 2 blues and a red. And so he rolls 3, 4. So he has 1, 2, 3 successes, and then a lightning bolt. And you know what? I totally forgot to use this. Lightning bolt, he has -1 armor, which the gremlin has no armor, so that doesn't go into effect. But I forgot to use, if used from one area away, he gets a bonus +1 successful hit. So in this circumstance, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 with the bonus. 1 is taken away by the night effect, so that is 4 hits. Now he does have a defense. If this enemy suffer damage, attack all heroes in its area with 2. And then if you combine it with Arcane Spines, it's actually, oh, he automatically suffers 1 hit point. So this is different. A hit point means he automatically will take a wound. So Icarus here now goes from 2 to 3. And then he gets attacked with 2 more. I'm sort of doing this a little bit out of order, but let me go ahead and finish this out. So I roll my defense die. I only get 1 success, so 1 goes through. Let's see if I have anything to mitigate that. Oh, no lightning, so I can't re-roll, so he goes ahead and takes another hit. So 4. He's already down to 2 remaining hit points. So we're going to have to heal him somehow. But to get back to the damage that we did to him, it pretty much kills him because we did 4 points of damage, succeeded in doing that, and he only has 4 hit points. And so he will drop 1, what are these called? Soul tokens, and again, this goes into a common pool, so we'll just place it here. We don't need to, I don't think we need to pick it up. He might drop it in that space. I don't remember. I'll have to look in the rule. I found it on page 44. Right here, it's soul points, number of soul points acquired by the heroes when the enemy dies, if any. So, no, they don't drop it. You automatically just get it. And I also realized that I played that wrong. Because he was 1 space away, it says here that spines. If this enemy suffers damage, attack all heroes in its area. So actually he's 1 area away, so Icarus would not have taken that extra point of damage, so he's still at 3. So with Icarus's turn being over, now it is Samiria's turn, and Icarus needs healing, so I'm just going to move her. Her move is 4, 1, 2, but just to get into this same space. And instead of using my action to re-equip so that I can put this on, I need to save my action and use it for my Healing Breeze, which basically allows all heroes in my area to heal 1. And I'm assuming that applies to her as well. So that will remove and heal this. And this will go down to 2, which is good. So that's pretty much all she can do at this point. And when you use a power card, you flip it over and you notice it has 1 hourglass. And so you flip it over and she's used it for this turn. And during the time phase, she'll be able to flip this back over. If there was 2 hourglasses, she would put it this way. And then during the time phase, it would just rotate 1 and go here. And then she would have to wait until the next turn to flip it over. But in essence, Samira can use this every round. And she is done with her turn. There are no enemies spawned. And so we are at the event phase. And so all we do is we just put this over here. And that's it for the event phase. So now we repeat that. So next turn, Samiria, this is a time phase. She will refresh this. We flip these tokens over, and then he has nothing to refresh. We only have 1 soul point, so we can't advance anyone, and so we're going to start another round. This time, let's have Samaria go first, and she is just going to spend her action to go ahead and switch this out. So she's going to equip this. Now this is a good point to talk about how many items can be in her backpack. We look down here and we see that she can hold only up to 2 items. So right now, she is full in terms of what items to get. I will probably drop this if I get another item that I want, since although it's actually a better armor, and I might just have Icarus grab it instead. So I might do that rather than just dropping it and getting rid of it. So let's go ahead and move her then. She'll go 1, 2, and normally this would be 3 movement, 2 movements to go into this space, but her natural ability, Nature Walker, ignore all hindrances while not in bear form. So she is able to go into here without the penalty. Yes, on page 10 we see that hindrances are each one of these: a barrier side, a difficult area, which is this map piece, and then also a deadly area, which is not present on this map. So she is able to ignore that. One important thing to say about hindrances is monsters. Enemies are not affected by these hindrances except for the barrier side. So monsters are affected by barrier side, but not by difficult areas and deadly areas. So as soon as she spends 2 movement to go here, because she's within line of sight of these 2, they flip over. And what we have, oh, this is just a spectator. So fortunately, this is a great place to draw it. Nothing spawns with this one. But this one is 2 enemies. So we have 2 gremlins, so that means 2 enemies are drawn in that spot. So we're just going to draw these 2 since this guy was beat already, and it's going to be a green and a blue. But because this blue does not have the upgrade, the enemy power card, he does not get a power card. And then and you'll notice, this is a good point to say that even though these are both blue gremlins, they do have sort of different stats, somewhat different stats. Like for example, he drops gold, whereas this guy drops experience or soul points. So that's why it's important to keep these things distinguished from one another. So we have a blue and a green spawning here. And Samaria, after seeing them, let's see, she has 2 more movement. Yeah, she might as well go in to attack. So she'll finish with 4 movement total to go up in there. And she is going to attack I'll go ahead and attack the green one, try to take out the green one first. So I roll 1 success, 2 success. Blue dice were nothing. Let me see, and I rolled no lightning bolts, so that doesn't do anything. And all I do is 2 points. Yep, that's all I do. So with the, let's see if the green one has any defense. I don't think it does. Has no defense, so it just takes 2 points of damage. Oh no, it's still night, so it takes 1 less. So all it takes is 1 point of damage, the green one. And so I know some people count down. I like to count up in terms of the number of wounds that they have. So the green one is affected. And now we draw an encounter card since she is finished with her turn. And this one says, oh nice, activate no enemy. Shuffle the encounter deck with the discard pile and then discard this card. So this is super nice, but I will reshuffle this one back in here. And now this is in the discard pile. So that was a really lucky break for Samaria, because she is now dominated since there are double the number of enemies in this space. So they would have done 1 extra point of damage. So a good thing about that. So now he will go ahead and activate and move. His total movement is 3, which is 1, 2, 3. So he actually can't move forward. He doesn't have enough movement. Although I will use the extra action, his action point to dash, which will move him 1 space more, which is good. And so he can attack from 1 away with his spear. He's going to go ahead and do that. And he will go ahead and attack, I want to say, let's attack the gremlin, the blue gremlin, since he does more damage. So I'm going to use 1 red die and 2 blue die. And so I get 1 successful hit and 3 lightning bolts. And what that means is I can use one of them for -1, but again, blue gremlins do not have armor, so it doesn't matter. But he will take bleeding. And so I think this is the bleeding token. I think, for the blue one. But I'll look that up. Let's see. So he takes 1 point here, 2 points here. He's 1 away, so that's 3 points of damage. The knight will reduce it down to 2. So all he takes is 2 points of damage. So let's stick that by him. So let me go ahead and look up what bleeding is. Yes, here it is, bleeding. This is the quick reference chart. A bleeding enemy suffers 1 hit point each time it is activated before applying any behavior. Flip the bleeding token in the next time phase and then remove it during the next one. So let's see what's on here. Oh, okay. So it goes down to half, but it will take 1 hit point of damage during its activation, which is helpful. So Icarus is done, and oh, no, he used his action to dash. I keep not having enough actions to activate this, which would be helpful with 1 extra damage. So he is finished now, and we'll draw an encounter card. And this one says, activate all enemies in full health, which these two are both wounded, so neither of them are in full health. Otherwise, all enemies use this symbol power. Let's see if the blue gremlin does have, they both have that symbol, and it's both the same thing. It's just activate this enemy. So, in effect, it does activate all the enemies. It has the same effect. So we'll put that there. Let's go ahead and do the blue one first. And well, both the blue and the green will attack with claws because they have an enemy within their same area. So Samaria is going to take both of these attacks on the chin. Let's go ahead and do the green one first. And the claws for the green one is 2 red die. And oh my goodness, that's 3 hits. And so she can roll with her new this is great. So with her shields, actually I need the shield tokens here to represent them because they're spent. She is going to go ahead and use 2 of them to cancel out 2 shields, and she has to use this before she rolls any blue die. So she's going to go ahead and spend those to cancel out 2 of them, and for the final one, she's going to roll her blue die. Let's see, that is a shield, so she totally succeeds in defending all of them. Again, I can use any of these. Once per round I get a reroll, so I need to remember that she has that ability. So great, so she managed to not get wounded with the green attack. So now we have to go to the blue one, and he also does 2, but cancels an armor, but her new armor has no armor here. So that doesn't really matter. So I'll just go ahead and roll these 2. 2 successes. And so, oh, you know what I totally forgot? I forgot these effects. So that green one, if claws attack deals damage, which actually it didn't, so it didn't matter. I would have discarded a random coin. If enemies control this area, claws attack inflicts +1. So she actually does receive damage and loses the coin, which is awful. Okay. All right, I forgot to do that. So She takes 1 point of damage, and because she takes that point of damage, she loses a random coin from the inventory. Same thing is going to happen here. He did 2 points of damage to her. Because he already used this thing, she will need to just roll 2 blue die. She will successfully block one, fails to block the other one, but I am going to roll 1 defense die here, use that ability, and I succeed. So she is not wounded, which is good. Nope, I forgot to apply this again. They control the area, so it does inflict an extra one, which does 1 point of damage. So she's at 2. And she has no more coins, so there's nothing left to steal. So that is the end of the round. Now we go to the event card, and we flip it over. And it says Anti-Magic Wind. Until the next event phase, heroes and enemies cannot use the pentagram effects, which I don't know if I really have any pentagram effects. Although I don't know if that qualifies for save rolls, so I'm not quite sure if that means I can't save during this round. I'm not sure. But more importantly, I have to spawn. So there's 2 heroes. I need to spawn the number of heroes minus the present number of enemies. And this is nice because 2 heroes minus 2 enemies means 0 spawn. If there was only 1 enemy, I would need to spawn an enemy by drawing one of the enemy cards, and it would have spawned at this location, right? So it's nice that we already have 2 out, so this spawn does not happen. So we go into the refresh, the time phase. Actually, during the time phase, these magic defense does refresh. So she will get that back for her Archmage robe. And now we will finish the time phase and go into the hero turn. Icarus will go ahead and attack. Again, I think he's going to attack the blue enemy. And this time he is going to use his action to do that. I needed to do that first, sorry. But his roll was horrible. He got no successes. Fortunately, he already has 1 success here, 2, and then 3 successes. But the night event takes away 1. And so, oh, you know what? I completely forgot to do this too. Man, there's a lot to keep track of. But the green monster should have attacked all heroes in its area with 2. So, sorry, I forgot to do that last round. But as it activated last round, he should have taken another point of damage. So he is actually at 3 at this point. We flipped this over during its activation. Yeah, I forgot to do that, sorry. She should have that round taken 2 points of damage when Icarus damaged that blue guy. So I'll go ahead and roll 2 for her. And I blocked 1, but she does take 1 more, so she's at 3 hit points. Alright, so this round, Icarus will go ahead and stab, rolled horribly, did 3 total points. Knight takes away 1, so 2 points of damage, only 1 left, so will die, and will drop a 10 gold piece in the spot. We can move all this, but it still does the spine defense, and will attack Samaria with another 2 points of damage. And at this point, she will just use her magic shields to block those 2. So that will be expended. And Icarus, this is a 1 hourglass, so it just flips that over to show that he used it. And now he will use his movement to walk into the space, and his free movement or free action to pick. Oh no, I don't think you can pick up treasure when there's an enemy in there. Let me look that up. Yes, here on page 23 it does say that the hero cannot be engaged in combat in order to drop or pick up. So he's unable to pick up that coin because there's an enemy in that area. But he does move in because what it does do is it grants Samaria a bonus because now they are dominating the area. So Icarus is finished with his turn, and Samaria will go ahead and attack using her battle hammer, rolling this amount of dice, and rolls 1 success, 2, she rolled 2 gremlins, but does 2 successes, and man, I need 1 more, because the nighttime actually will take away one of them, so I end up doing just 1 point of damage, which is so unfortunate. Although, no, they're dominating. So actually does another point of damage and kills it, which is great. He has no defense, so no effect happens, and he will drop a experience or a soul token. So now we have 2, which is good. She can use her free action. She will pick up the 10. And because she didn't use her action yet, she will go ahead and use her action to do Healing Breeze, where everyone in the area will be healed 1 hit point. And so she will go down to 2, and Icarus is healed and has only 1 remaining wound. And there's no enemies within line of sight. Samaria did not use her movement that last action. She will go over here at the end of her turn. Sorry, I should have done that first. And when she moves into this area, we flip this over and we look in the storybook to see what token number 3, waypoint number 3 does. Some strange noises warn you of imminent peril. It's a trap. The active hero draws and applies a trap card. So not so great. So we'll go ahead and come over here, pull a trap card. Oh, nice! It's actually not a trap. No effects. Or maybe she jumps out of the way at the last minute so it doesn't hurt her. So that's nice that nothing happened there. So we are at the end of the round. So we do the event again. So we just flip this over, and that's all we need to do.